in today's session of Divorce Court.
Lynette Sandoval says when their daughter nearly died, her husband didn't care.
She was in a coma. You couldn't even bother to be there for me or her. I stayed up with her, held her while her eyes were rolled back. You were never there for her. You don't even know what she went through. I had to go and teach her how to walk all over again.
Now his new girlfriend is ready to defend him.
Stay out of it.
I don't know who you are over there in the peanut gallery, but if you want to get to the witness stand, you need to close your mouth. You got that?
It's the case of Lynette Sandoval versus George Hillman in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of George Hillman versus Lynette Sandoval. And I'm advised that after 5 years of marriage, Mrs. Sandoval, you're ready to end it. Why?
Yes, Your Honor. In 1996, my daughter was in a coma. And
She wasn't
he
in a
wasn't.
coma, Your
You're a
Honor.
liar. Let me finish
All right.
my story. She was in a coma. You couldn't even bother to be there for me or her. I didn't even know if she was going to make it. She was in a coma for 1 whole week.
She had
And
a
where
seizure.
was your husband during that time?
He was out partying with his friends.
I was at work, Your Honor.
That is not true. You were out partying
And what
with
happened
your
to your
friends.
daughter?
I had to go and teach her how to walk all over again. How to
What
That's a lie,
happened to her?
Your
What
Honor.
caused the coma? What happened?
seizures.
And she was in a coma for a week.
A week.
That's a flat lie,
And
Your
your
Honor.
husband was nowhere around.
No, he was not eating. I tried to contact him. They could not even find him. When I contacted his stepfather, I was told it was an excuse just to have him in my life. He didn't want nothing to do with us.
Your Honor, I was contacted.
That is not.
I was contacted at work.
And what did you do?
You were not at
There was-
work. You were out partying with your friends.
So how did you reach him?
Your Honor,
I
that's
left
a
a
complete
message
lie.
with his father. You don't even have nothing to do
No,
with
you
this.
know what?
Yes, I
Just
do.
wait,
Stay
just
out
At
of
the
it.
time your daughter
Wait
was in the
just a
hospital,
minute.
I was there.
Excuse me. You need to close your mouth. There's a time and place for all things. Right now, it's time for her to talk. It's time for you to be quiet. You got that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Finish what you're saying, Ms. Sandoval.
I contacted his father. His father told me that he thought it was an excuse to butt out of his life and to stop using his daughter as an excuse.
Why would your father-in-law think that you would make up a fabricated tale like that and
She's
lie
a
on your
chronic
child's
liar.
health?
It's
That's
not
why.
true. I don't even know the man that well. I met him a couple times. He lied to me about who his family was and everything. I called this man. I said, here, this is the hospital we're in. This is where we're at. I explained everything. And he tells me, well, I talked to him. He doesn't want nothing to do with you. You're nothing but a liar.
Your Honor?
I mean, I don't have to bring medical records or anything to show I'm lying. I stayed up with her, held her while her eyes were rolled back.
You need to stop lying.
No,
What?
you
So
need to
now that
realize
you
because
say
you were
she's
never
lying, you
there for
tell
her.
me what
You
happened.
were never there for
Your
her.
Honor,
You don't even know what she went
I was
through.
at work, Your Honor. What happened was that she
That's
got
not true.
she got
You were out
current.
partying with your friends like always.
She got in
Ms.
a
Sandoval, hold on.
She got in a
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Calm yourself.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. It's, just,
wait
it's
a minute,
never
though.
been there.
I understand that. But again, these are evidentiary proceedings. There has to be some rules. Now, I know that you're upset because you say he wasn't ever there. But still, like, you can't talk over him and keep yelling your line.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. It's just he's such a liar.
All right? Sounds like he's calling you the same.
If anybody's lying, it's you.
You know what? You leave my courtroom right now. I told you to keep your mouth closed.
Your Honor, I was at work. I worked out of town at the time.
It's not true.
I
Ms.
talked.
Sandoval, you're going to be next.
I talked to Lynette at the hospital. She had a work phone number to get a hold of me. She called me. She said that she had a car accident, that my daughter Courtney was in the hospital with a seizure. Not a coma, a seizure. And I couldn't do nothing about getting out. I was out of town. She talked to the doctors. The doctors all said that they were under control. She was fine. She had a temperature of 104, and they were bringing it down. She was okay.
And you say you couldn't do anything.
I couldn't get out of work. There was nothing.
Where were you?
I was out of town.
And what were you doing out of town in terms of work that you couldn't leave to go see about your wife and daughter?
I'm a foreman of a roofing crew, and there was nothing I could do to get out. I tried to, I asked. I called my boss to find out if I can get away, but none of the people that were there were liable enough to take over my job
And
if I
how
left.
far were you from your wife and daughter in terms of out of town?
About 50, 60 miles.
What about an hour's drive?
Just about, yes.
And how many hours a day do you work, sir?
10 hours a day, ma'am.
And so at the end of those 10 hours, you couldn't drive your behind for an hour to see about your wife and daughter?
I came home. And when I came home, she and my daughter were already at home.
In the same day or the same
The
week?
same day. They were already home.
So you're saying that they weren't in the hospital, or your daughter wasn't in the hospital for a week?
No, she was not, Your Honor. She wasn't in a coma. She went in.
But tell me this. Are you saying that she wasn't in the hospital for a week?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So
she
she doesn't know the difference between a day and a week?
She's lying, Your Honor.
So what are you trying to do, pull a fast one on this court?
Your Honor, she was in a coma.
Was she in the hospital a week or a day?
She was in the hospital a week, Your Honor. And not only that,
Where are
Your
the
Honor,
hospital records?
I did not bring because I didn't feel I had to bring them, Your Honor, because he's also getting his incidents wrong, because in '95 I was involved in a car accident pregnant, which I did bring that because he said it never happened.
Why did you think you needed evidence on the particular issue about one day when you were there, when you were pregnant for 8 months, and you didn't need any evidence on the issue of 1 week?
Because this is the issue he keeps denying to everybody else, and the other issue he keeps saying, yeah, he does know what happened, but there was nothing he could do because I used it as an excuse to be with him.
So
he keeps denying this one.
So he's denying the fact that you were in the hospital at all?
Right.
During the 8 months?
Right.
I mean, when you were pregnant?
Right.
What about that incident?
No, Your Honor. I know that she was in the hospital, and I know that when she got into the hospital, they checked her over. They checked to make sure the baby was okay. She was still pregnant, and they released her.
Where were you then?
I was at home when she got in the car accident.
Did you make it to the hospital?
Yes, I did.
So you were there for her?
Yes.
And when they released her from the hospital, were you there?
Yes, we went home.
And did you stay at home?
For the rest of that day, yes.
And what about the few days after that?
Well, Your Honor, it was never an honest relationship.
What do you mean by that?
Your Honor, first of all, he's lying.
The day we got married, we all went back to the house. We had like the reception type thing. And my dad's there, the whole family is there, and we're all looking around. Lynette's gone. So we're looking out.
The bride is gone?
The bride's gone. So I open the door, and she's out in the hallway, supposedly kissing her ex-boyfriend or whatever.
Supposedly kissing, or he's supposed to be her ex-boyfriend?
I caught them, they were locking lips.
Locking lips on the wedding day?
That's a lie,
lips.
because if that happened, how come you didn't leave me on my wedding day?
Wait a minute.
That's why when I hit him, they both fell down.
Hold on a second.
Right.
So you hit him?
Yes, I did, Your Man.
Miss Sandoval, what were you doing?
I wasn't doing anything, Your Honor. And if that did happen, if that did happen, then how come he didn't leave?
If that did happen, you know
I'm saying it didn't, but he's saying it did. If it did happen in his words, why didn't he leave me?
All right, but tell me your version.
Okay.
Since the two of you don't agree on anything.
We never have.
Well, tell me your version.
The version is okay, our wedding day, we went and got married. We turned around, we went to the reception, which was at our apartment. He turned around and left after the wedding, said that he had an errand to do, and he came right back.
So he left during the reception?
Yes.
No, Your
All
Honor.
right. Her version. Be quiet.
I never had any ex-boyfriends there, Your Honor.
And no one was
I didn't
at
even
the
have a big wedding.
So he's making all of this up?
Yes.
The husband the ex-boyfriend wasn't at the wedding. He came to the reception.
That's what I'm talking about. She said he wasn't at the reception.
Nope.
She invited him there. And the fact that I took off for 2 hours, that wasn't so, Your Honor. The food, everything, the drink, everything was there before we even got married. Everything was set up hours in advance.
So you're saying that you never left your reception?
Why would I leave my reception?
Why would she leave the reception? You said she left.
She's a freak.
Oh, I'm a freak.
So
That's why I'm your daughter's
So you're denying that you were locking lips with the ex?
Your Honor, I think it's just saying that because of the fact on my daughter's first birthday, I caught him in bed with a 15-year-old.
Oh, my goodness.
When divorce court returns, George testifies about Lynette's accusation.
He's about to deny it. I know you are, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You better hurry up and deny it.
I believe it, I am.
Are you involved in a dispute with a neighbor, friend, relative, or business person? Take your case to a new court show and be represented by a prominent attorney. Call 877-777-0099. Divorce court returns as George Hillman responds to Lynette Sandoval's claim that she caught him in bed with an underage girl.
He's about to deny it. I know you are, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You better hurry up and deny it.
Believe it, I am.
Hold on. Now, if that's the case, then why did you say that he's in bed with a child? So you see what I mean? You stayed.
No,
So
Your
that
Honor,
question is not a valid
No, Your
question.
Honor, I went to my sister's after that incident and told him that I did not want nothing to do with him.
So why are you still with him?
I'm not.
And did you ever go back after that?
No, he kept coming back telling me he was changed, he was going to take care of his daughter.
Okay, did you let him back?
A couple of times, Your Honor,
All
yes.
right then, so there's your answer. You all kept going back and forth between each other for whatever reason. I don't know.
Your Honor,
Why'd you keep going back? Apparently, you still had some feelings of caring for each other.
at first, I loved her. I married her to be with her. And after the incident at the reception, I stayed there for like 2 weeks, and then nothing changed. It was just...
What do you mean nothing changed? She kept seeing other people?
She would disappear.
Oh, she kept doing the disappearing act.
Disappearing act.
Excuse me, that's a lie.
After
I was
about-
working, I would leave you with the kids.
Excuse
You would
me.
take off and leave them with the
After
neighbors.
about 2 weeks
You were always out partying.
After about 2 weeks of dealing with this, I finally got fed up with it, and I left.
What do you mean she disappeared?
She'd leave for 4 or 5 hours a day. And when I ask her where she
While
goes...
she's pregnant with your child?
Yes. I'd ask her where she's going, and she says, it's none of your business. You're just my husband. That's all you are.
Oh, and that means nothing. You're not supposed to ask any questions.
She's a controlling freak,
I
Your
thought
Honor.
husbands meant that it was your business when you're husband and
That's
wife.
what I
That you
thought.
could ask where you're
Excuse
going.
me, Your Honor, but when I was pregnant, I would work. I had to work because he would not work. He was always taking off with girls that he brought over to the house saying they were friends. I found out they were girlfriends. In '95, I was involved in a car accident.
What about the guys from the
He
bar?
turned
Hold on, what about him? Just let her finish.
He turned around. I had gone to a picnic he invited me to at a friend's house. He was sitting there talking to a girl. I found out from another person that they were having something going on. I asked him about it. He got verbal. I left.
What does it mean he got verbal? Every time he talks, you get verbal?
He got very verbally abusive.
Oh, okay.
And I
He started
turned around-
calling you names like he just called you here a couple of
No,
times.
actually a couple
Hold
worse.
on a second, which you thought I didn't hear.
Oh, I
but
know
I
you heard it,
did.
Your Honor.
Don't do it again.
Sorry.
Actually, a couple words which I can't use, Your Honor, because I am being ordained to be a reverend. But I'd like to get
You're being
in there.
ordained to be a reverend.
You're
Yes.
a stripper.
But
She's a
I
stripper,
am not
Your Honor.
a stripper.
She's a stripper.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
She was stripping while she was pregnant with my daughter.
She was a stripper while she was
I
pregnant?
was not stripping while I was pregnant.
So
And
was
for
she
your
a stripper when you
information-
met her?
For your information,
No, at the time she wasn't doing
you
nothing.
need to get
She
your
was
story
sitting on her
straight.
butt
You're
doing
nothing but a chronic
Your Honor.
liar.
I didn't like the fact that my girlfriend was out stripping so
You
other
married
guys
me?
can
So
see her
did you
body.
have a job?
At
No.
the time, no, I didn't.
So wait a minute now, Mr. Didn't like her working as a stripper. If you met her and
I had
she,
a job 3 days after we got married, though.
but
And I kept
you
the
didn't
job.
have a job,
traveling with the
and
carnival
she
is not
had a job as a stripper, and it put food on the table, did you refuse that food?
No.
So
Because
what are you
the
talking
kids
about? I
needed
didn't
to
like
eat,
it.
but there's a moral to it.
He
You
didn't
got-
Then why
refuse his
did
leather
you go
jacket
out and
either.
get a job?
He
I
didn't refuse
did
his
get a
leather
job,
jacket
Your
either.
How long did it take you to get a job?
Within a week of us being married, I had a full-time job doing it all.
So then you say she didn't have to keep working as a stripper.
Right, but she kept doing it because she liked that.
Your
she
Honor,
would go to the bar. She worked at a bar. She would go. The bar closes at like 1. She wouldn't come home until 5.
That's not true. You
Now,
were always out
when-
partying,
Well,
leaving our
Mr.
kids
Mr.
with neighbors.
Hillman,
When she
wait a
does
minute.
come home, I look out the window and I see her getting out of a guy's car, hugging and kissing. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to like sit there and say,
That
"Oh,
is
that's
such
okay"?
a lie, and you know it
Well,
because
what
you
did
were
you
never home.
expect if you
were
said
working
she
with
was
the
kissing with
carnival.
her ex-boyfriend on the day of the wedding? But I'm trying to find out,
thought
when did
that-
she become a stripper? Before or after you married her?
Before marriage.
And did you know that she was a
that
stripper?
she wasn't doing that before our marriage.
Did you know that
Yes, I
that was her
was.
line
No.
of work?
No, I didn't know that until after we got married.
In 4 months that you dated, you didn't know that that was the type of work she
She
did?
wasn't working.
But still,
Yes,
you
I
can know
was.
somebody's history.
I have
if
two other
somebody
kids I was
asked me,
supporting.
what did you work, what kind of work do you do?
Yeah.
Those are the
It
first
was
questions you
it was a
asked.
rush. It wasn't like we sat down and said, "Okay, what did you do in your
You know
life?"
what,
It
Mr.
wasn't
Hillman,
nothing like
No,
that.
that's
Your
not,
Honor.
rush, rush.
that's not true at all.
Hold on a second. It's been a while since I've been out there rush, but
Sorry.
things haven't changed that much.
I was 19.
And from what I remember, even at 19 and 17 and 25 and 50, it doesn't change. After what's your name, how old are you, where do you live, then usually the next question is, where do you work?
Yeah.
It didn't go like that, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
It didn't.
So
Your
you're
Honor,
telling
he
me
even
that you
went to my
never...
job a couple times,
No,
sat there and
we
watched
talked about
me.
her past.
I don't believe that you never found out what type of work or what line of work she was in.
Your Honor, he
in
used
the
to go
4
there and
months of
watch
dating.
me.
I
Your
won't
Honor,
believe it
we used to-
today nor tomorrow.
We used to, before we got married, we sat down. The marriage was a rush. It should
told me that.
It should never
You
have
told me you
happened.
married me to take care of me and the unborn child that you had coming.
No, that he had coming or we had
We
coming?
had coming. Sorry, Your
Oh,
Honor. It's just it
no.
upsets me because I've been there. He hasn't been.
I told her I would marry her because at the time I loved her.
You love me. That's why
But I think
on my daughter's
now
first
that I look
birthday,
back
a
at it, Your
15-year-old.
Honor, it wasn't love.
Wait
It was-
just a minute. Both of you cannot talk.
Now that I sit back and I see for the last 5 years of what I've been going through,
5
was.
years you ain't even been there.
it wasn't love.
It never was
It
love.
wasn't. It was
You weren't
lust.
even
lust.
there.
It was lust. Your Honor.
Lust.
You weren't
all
even there.
over you.
And I kept coming back because I figured,
Because of more lust.
no, Your Honor, not at all.
No, it was the money, Your Honor.
It wasn't the money, Your Honor.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was.
my daughter.
So what about the bill that she's talking about? You don't know anything about it?
This is the first I've heard about it.
First you
Oh,
heard about
my
it.
goodness.
He did
I knew that she-
earlier, Your Honor, he just got done telling you he knew about it and he got
I
too
knew
into
she
the
went to
Didn't
the
you know
hospital.
that your child was in the hospital?
Yes, I did, Your Honor. And
But
I
you,
knew
what, you thought it was free?
she always took care of the bills. She gave her money, she dealt with it. I figured that she dealt with it because it never came up.
They never sent you a bill.
I'm not the one that always dealt with it. She dealt
But
with it.
just tell me something. The bill never came to your house?
I never seen a bill, Your Honor.
Never.
Never.
Why haven't you told him about this bill?
I have, Your Honor.
She's irresponsible.
And
that's why.
what has been his response when you told him about the bill?
His response was,
with a
at
good
the
lie.
time after the incident had happened, we were at a friend's house. He had came early home, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, knocking on her door, banging if I was there. I was laying in bed with a neck brace. He goes, baby, move over. I'm tired. Oh, by the way, can you rub my back? It hurts.
No way,
Okay,
Your
so
Honor.
but that was his response to the bill?
Yes.
When divorce court returns, the judge renders her verdict.
The goose can't talk about the gander. Pot can't talk about the kettle. You keep pointing the finger at each other. Both of you acted irresponsibly.
And an update on the case of Janie Angus versus Kevin Angus.
He told me I was fat and disgusting and I should do whatever I could to lose weight. I didn't want him to see me undressed.
Divorce Court will be back in session in a moment.
Divorce court is back in the case of George Hillman as he testifies about why he feels he's not responsible for his daughter's medical bills.
How much is the medical bill?
$548, Your Honor.
Plus all the interest that's piled up over the years. Right? And not a dime has been paid by either one of you?
No.
Because you say it's his responsibility and he say I don't know anything about it.
Right.
All you have to do is check with the hospital and say, is there an outstanding medical bill?
But I had never heard nothing about it, Your
Oh,
Honor.
come
How
on,
am I-
Mr. Hillman, cut it out.
Listen, Your Honor.
They haven't
I
started
knew-
treating people for free yet. The bill is still outstanding. What's your position?
I don't feel that I should have to pay for that.
So you still just don't want to pay it, even if you knew about it, you wouldn't pay it.
No. Now, I don't feel that I should have to pay for it now because she was the irresponsible one that didn't take care of it then.
The goose can't talk about the gander.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Pot
but-
can't talk about the kettle.
You're
How
only
you gonna
seeing
say
what you
she's
see. You don't
irresponsible
see
and
how
you
the
haven't
life
paid
went.
anything either? You keep pointing the finger at each other. Both of you acted irresponsibly. Both of you. Your child was in the hospital. You know there was a medical bill of some kind.
I
The
thought she took
hospital
care
would
of
have
it.
told you on the day the child got released how much your insurance paid, if you had insurance, and how much your share was. Or if you didn't have insurance, they would have told you what your share was and how much you had to pay, or at least within the 30 days. They don't wait past that. Just close your mouth and stop shaking your head.
Sorry, Your Honor.
They would have sent you a bill. Would have been easy to find out. Now you know your position is still I shouldn't have to pay it because she acted irresponsibly. Acted irresponsibly how? Had an accident irresponsibly?
No, she acted responsible not telling me about the
Oh,
bill.
please, I don't want to hear it. You acted irresponsibly.
told you about the
And
bill.
not finding out. That's nothing but an excuse because now I've told you about it and you still say I shouldn't pay it.
Because she wants me to bail her out of another
had she
jam.
That is not
told
true.
you,
I
be
told you
quiet,
about the
Mr.
bill.
Sandoval. Had she told you, you still wouldn't have wanted to pay.
If she would have
That's
told me...
all right. Be quiet. She didn't tell you? You didn't know? Now you know, and I'm telling you, pay half of it. Court's adjourned.
All rise.
When divorce court returns, an update on the case of Janie Angus versus Kevin Angus.
You allowed yourself to be sold for a soda pop?
No, it was a 24
Oh, a
pack
whole
case.
case.
Closed captioning for Divorce Court provided by.
Are you involved in a dispute with a neighbor, friend, relative, or business person? To appear before a real judge on a new court show, call 877-777-0099.
And now for an update on a previous case in Divorce Court.
Janie Angus said not only did her husband Kevin destroy her self-esteem,
He told me I was fat and disgusting and I should do whatever I could to lose weight. I didn't want him to see me undressed.
but he also sold her to another man.
You allowed yourself to be sold for a soda pop?
No, it was a 24
Oh, a
pack
whole
case.
case. Mr. Angus, soda?
Janie told the judge she had a number of health problems and wanted Kevin to keep her on his health insurance for a year after the divorce. The judge ordered him to continue paying the premium for a year. Janie reports that her health problems have continued, and she had to have knee surgery after court. She was so inspired by the nurses that helped her through her hysterectomy that she decided to enroll in nursing school this fall. Kevin wants to quit his job at the fire department and move to another state and pursue a career in commercial driving. After 3 failed marriages, Kevin has no plans to remarry, but he is planning a father-son bonding trip to Disneyland this summer with his 2 sons.
I would like to have his rights terminated. I would like you to give up all rights to your daughter. You've never been there. Please leave us alone. Stop calling us when your girlfriend's not home.
She's a pathological liar. She's a psychopath.
He's never been there, nor does he care. He chooses to have his party life and his girlfriend.
Her whole life is nothing but a game, and I'm just so glad that I'm getting out of it.
I do not want nothing to do with you. Pay for it. Leave us alone.
Yeah,
Have a
goodbye.
nice life.